welcome to the losers match, game number 1 of this best of 3 to decide who gets to continue on to the final match of the day and who goes home as the first loser of Group D out of the round of 32 of ASL Challenger League, round of 32 Group D. In the northern position on Coda, we do have the yellow Terran player, one half of this lovely mirror matchup. This is Seryph.
His opponent is down here in the bottom right on screen right now. It is a red Terran player, Just Gaming's PSiArc.
Lovely mirror matchup we have going on, in that these guys have both chosen pretty much the exact same build. I believe it was 12 gas, 12 racks, although certainly it was 12 gas. They didn't go 11-11 or anything like that, opting for the extra SCV.
Some very fast factories from both these players. Kind of going quickly up the tech tree. Probably going to be a starport basically immediately after this as well. But they could save on. I'll be interested to see whether they go for Hellions or whether they're just going really heavily into those Banshees, or whether they actually want to get some Widowmine drops or something going on. Most likely Hellions, I think.
Sometimes we do see the drops coming out to try to land some early damage, and it certainly can work in TVT. There's going to be the reactor coming down for Seryph, his starport a little bit later than that of his opponent. And PSiArc, I mean, he hasn't added on a tech lab or anything like that, and his starport is kind of in the wrong position for an ideally quick switchover. So not necessarily going to be Banshees from either player. They're instead looking for those little bits of Hellions to add into their mostly Marine armies.
Yeah, they certainly do help, especially early on in the game when the Marines don't have stim, medevac support, combat shields, any of that good stuff, and Hellions can poke in, kite away, and just generally get their splash damage and line them up. But they will, of course, still be going on basically mirror builds right now, so it'll all kind of depend who gets the best engagement. At the minute, PSiArc is looking like the more aggressive player. Although with Seryph now moving out with just his Hellions, there's the possibility that PSiArc will be able to get some nice shots off. Here he'll get the first shot at least in this engagement down here. But Focus Flax and Seryph, I'm not sure it's going to be. No, it's not enough. And actually, he does get one Hellion. So that is a nice little win there for PSiArc. One of his Hellions on orange health, and Seryph's one of them on red and one of them on dead.
Apparently, Seryph smells, or rather PSiArc smells blood in the water. He's moving across with 6 additional Marines. And what the heck? Seryph adds on the CC as well. While PSiArc, he's mostly just looking for that aggression. He's going to have to pick up and get on out of there. A little bit too many units coming out for Seryph.
Yeah, just a couple too many there. Oh, I don't think PSiArc's really got enough health to fight these Marines. They can get a bit of damage, especially with that medevac support. So looks like all these Hellions are going to be taken out. So the threat is over for now. However, these Marines in the main base are going to be doing a bit of damage here. Picking off 1 or 2 SCVs before getting on out of there. Seryph helping out by focusing firing down his own supply depot. But PSiArc actually decides to come back in. This kind of dooms this medevac. Yeah, it gets out there.
10 HP. Now, PSiArc has earned himself a nice 5-worker lead. The kind of unfortunate thing is that his CC is about 30 seconds behind that of his opponent. But the nice thing is that PSiArc's CC is actually on the low ground, so he's got that going for him. More Widowmines and medevacs going to be coming out for Seryph. Can he actually do any real damage with this little bit of a push he's got going on? Oh, no! Nice split, though. He noticed it at the last second, and he minimized the damage.
Yeah, minimized the damage indeed. And now he's moving forward, though, and he's got a good position here. Smashing, even actually microing his Marines. Oh, man, Seryph, the true go-through here. The Vikings having to land to try and help push this away, but it looks like he's not going to be able to. PSiArc is going to try and finish up this orbital command, but he's going to take a lot of damage on it, and it could end up being a mistake. We'll see. The Vikings, though, moving down. There's a lot of SCVs that could tank them. But, oh, actually, the Widowmine gets another Hellion on the way out. Man, those smoke trails going everywhere. Yeah, it looks like everything is settled down for now. Seryph's Orbital Command is finished down on the low ground. PSiArc actually has a little bit of a worker lead and is starting to kind of catch up in army, as well as getting tank production underway.
PSiArc maintaining that 5-worker lead, and certainly that Widowmine could have done a lot more damage if PSiArc would have been force firing it and really prioritizing targets. But in this case, some pretty minimal damage. The pickup from Seryph is going to head into the main base. A couple of Widowmines mixed in here. Oh! There was a Widowmine behind that refinery. Kills the medevac, but 2 Vikings traded out as Seryph gets a nice shot there. And I guess this trade relatively equal. I'm not actually sure. Oh, no, never mind. On the other side of the map, we do have... unfortunately, I guess the medevac that carried this Widowmine ended up going down with potentially a Widowmine inside of it. Widowmines from both players causing a bit of havoc.
So, yeah, Seryph isn't actually going to get a scan, though, before this Widowmine goes off again. And Seryph, I mean, Widowmines don't actually kill an SCV with their splash, but a Widowmine going off twice will kill SCVs with a splash. So actually only gets 2, I think, there. Maybe 3. Gets 3 SCVs there, yeah. So it could have been a lot worse. And there is a scan ready now in that main Orbital Command. Yeah, so it's going to take out that Widowmine without too much an issue. And yeah, another scan. Camp scan's going to get a little bit of scouting information. Sees the 2 racks going down. And yeah, I think he spotted that siege tank as well. So I don't know. I reckon PSiArc's probably feeling pretty good. He's got about a 9-worker lead. His siege tank production has been underway for a little while. He's currently got 2 to 1. And everything looks pretty good for him, even getting a little bit of an upgrade lead on his bio.
Of course, the production lead will be going to Seryph if he's able to just sit on that present 2-base economy that he's got. And granted, as you mentioned, he is a bit behind on the workers, but he may be able to power up for a big attack before PSiArc is ready. The real advantage that PSiArc has is the tank. So if he can protect his tanks well enough and keep them in good positions, it'll be coming down to really some crazy multitasking and drops that'll have to come out from Seryph to even things up and gain an advantage. Because the longer this game goes on, the longer that his 3rd command center is delayed behind that of his opponent, he's going to need to do something, or else he's just going to be out-macroed.
Yeah, and we'll find out what that is pretty soon. His 3rd CC is going to come down, so it's not too far behind PSiArc's. Looks like he's just going to be trying to play catch-up a little bit, and that is fine. Seryph's Marine over on the 3rd base is going to get cleaned out by PSiArc. Actually, yeah, it doesn't get away. So, yeah, all's good. PSiArc managed to pick off Hellion in the main middle of the map and secure that Zelnaga watchtower, secure the main attack path, or vision over the main attack path. And Seryph is starting to look like he wants to move down this ramp, set up a defensive position with his siege tanks, or actually even go further across the map and try and take the mid-map back. Oh, was that? Yeah. Just with a few Marines, just a small force of Marines up there. Of course, up in the top right-hand corner, PSiArc is actually sending off an unconventional drop where the Marines just kind of walk alongside the medevac. Is he going to load the map? Or are they just going to kind of parade along?
They should potentially poke in towards that natural. They may just be chilling out, waiting for that 3rd to fly over eventually. The thing that worries me about this push-out from Seryph is ordinarily you want to do some sort of push-out when you're pretty sure you have an advantage or that you can crush something. And 3 tanks versus the current 6 of PSiArc, this could potentially lead to some real problems for Seryph. If he just takes a little bit of a wrong engagement, he could lose so many Marines. And this may happen right here.
Seryph luckily does manage to back off pretty quickly, but very nice engagement there for PSiArc. Perfect concave on those siege tanks, takes out a few of the Marines, and then he sees an opportunity, dives towards, picks off a siege tank, and gets out without too much damage being taken as the 3rd command center lands. This drop, this little parade up in the top right-hand corner is going to be able to pick it off. Yes, he's going to get the Marines as well. There is a siege tank there, but PSiArc could lift up and drop on top of it. But wisely decides not to, as Seryph's forces dash back to support, and that command center is going to survive. Over to the third base, scan goes down, kind of confirms that's there for Seryph, and yeah, PSiArc setting up a drop into the main as well.
A nice delay on that third base for sure, as PSiArc, that early worker lead transforming into a 13 worker lead and a nearly 30 army supply advantage, as Missile Turret's going to be guiding away trying to guide away one of the medevacs, as it does get a nice drop into the main, forces all of the SCVs to be pulled. Not many of them actually went down. Oh my word, if he cancels one of these upgrades on the engineering base, that's going to be pretty big. While over at the third as well of Seryph, there's an additional drop going down, killing off 5 more SCVs. And little bit by little bit, PSiArc has just been gaining an advantage until now. He's canceled both of the 2-2 upgrades. Wow, in just a little while, he's going to have such an insane advantage.
Yeah, and the medevac helping out so much with these Marines in the main base. They are actually going to win this engagement against, like, half again as many Marines. And oh my god, PSiArc is all over the place, lifting up siege tanks into the main base. A big drop is going to go down on the siege tanks on the low ground, though, and that's going to help Seryph out a little bit. A lot of these siege tanks seeing a little friendly fire to each other. But, the medevac! Oh, nearly full medevac avoids going down, and it's going to drop its deadly cargo all over PSiArc's last few remaining siege tanks. But PSiArc is still in the main base with an enormous force. It's going to start being taken out now as Seryph's tanks in the main siege up. Seryph now down at 19 SCVs.
And of course, PSiArc doesn't have to win right now. He could lose absolutely everything. It's GG, though.
Hey everybody, here we are on map number 2 of the first lower bracket match. It is Echo, and down here in the bottom right we find our yellow Terran player, Seryph.
And the man who's up 1-0, presently representing Did You See That Gaming? This is PSiArc.
I don't think so.
Dust Gaming is indeed the short version of Did You See That?
Really? Huh.
Or I was lied to. I believe it was Fear Dragon who told me that, so the integrity of that statement rests entirely upon his shoulders. I suppose it's something that someone could probably look up on Team Liquid, but that sounds like an enormous amount of work. And Trigonal, we have a TVT to cast. And TVTs, they can get underway very quickly. In this case, it's looking pretty similar to that last game, but how do these guys want to follow up is what I'm interested in.
Yeah, we haven't seen any Banshees actually at all tonight, but TVT is the matchup we'd see the men of choice, I imagine, for these two players. So we'll see if there's any kind of second gases added on for any Banshees, or Banshee and Cloak play, any fast starports and tech labs, or whether they want to go into that Hellion style that we saw to use to such great effect from both players in the first game.
And PSiArc, he wants to just confirm that there's nothing janky going on over by his third. He is going to be SCV scouting a fair bit earlier than his opponent. Yeah, his opponent, Seryph, rather, just going for the Marine down to the low ground. He's like, all right, there's nothing too janky going on. I see no attacks incoming, or there's nothing too crazy. Because sometimes players do like to drop stuff over by that kind of third location. Mm-hmm. And it can be a bit tricky. In this particular case, things are looking pretty similar to that last game. And once again, very heavy mirrors. Nope, nope, nope. It's Tech Lab. That is not a reactor.
Interesting. There we go. So looks like Seryph is going to bring out those Banshees. The double gas as well, just finishing up. So, what's PSiArc doing? He is also
doing
getting
the same
Tech
thing.
Lab. Yeah, exactly the same thing. Man, these guys, they think alike. And you know what they say about minds which think alike?
They think alike? I have no idea where you're going with this.
I don't know. I kind of I went up to Great Minds Think Alike, then I realized that I kind of mixed it up.
Yeah.
To minds that think alike are great, but that's actually not necessarily true.
Fair. Well, we've got Cloaking and the Banshee on the way. The swap around is a bit late for Seryph, all things considered. It's not like it's enormously late or anything, but Cloaked Banshee, and these two guys haven't quite got a read on what the other guy is doing. However, PSiArc, he's going to be heading into that natural relatively soon. He's going to be trying to poke up the ramp, and if he's paying attention, he's probably going to get an idea of how many Marines there are, and he's like, all right, you got no natural, it's not flying over, it's not landing, and if he's careful, he may actually see how many... Oh, yeah, he's going to be able to see there are 5 Marines out there, so he will actually know that, and that's going to kind of limit the options as far as what... And actually, there's the Raven immediately starting, so PSiArc, very nice read there.
Yeah, what else? Did he just see? Yeah, he just sees the 5 Marines. Of course, he has 5 Marines himself. I don't know whether it's like you have 5 Marines, therefore you're doing a Banshee opener, or what it was. But yeah, he's going to probably... about 2 Banshees actually is going to cross each other. Both players have Ravens on the way as well, so man, these guys are just on top of it. Both of them and doing pretty much exactly the same thing. PSiArc, though, here's the difference. Is getting down to the command center. His Banshee is going to be making its way into the main base. Has picked off an SCV and a Marine. This Raven is going to come out, help push it away. Still, though, it's going to kill a fair few SCVs before it gets on out of there.
Ooh. Up to 5 particular SCVs. Yeah. He could stick around. I mean, if he wants to sacrifice, he can definitely get more. And all right. So he only gets the 5, but as you mentioned, he also ended up getting that Marine. However, on the other side of the map, Seryph lost his own Banshee, and he's only killed 1 SCV, so that's a bit unfortunate for Seryph. He's definitely opening up with a bit of a disadvantage.
Yeah, he is a little bit here. And PSiArc, I mean, he's got a slightly higher work count now. He's going to have a little bit higher of a arm count. Actually, it's exactly 1 Marine higher. I haven't looked at the unit, but it's exactly 1 supply higher.
Yes.
It's actually 2 Marines and a Viking higher, but
wow.
Whatever.
Yeah, we won't worry about that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter too much. But yeah, PSiArc is going to be moving his CC down to the low ground now. Seryph is just upgrading his orbital command now. And PSiArc getting his siege tank up on that high ground natural. And yeah, he's going to be looking in a pretty good position to defend this. We'll see what Seryph can get done, though.
He spots the push out, so he's going to know that this is coming. He will... he's going to be repositioning his tank, and of course, high ground vision isn't going to be playing a huge, huge role as long as the Viking and the Raven are around for Seryph. Is there a second Viking about to pop? No, it's not quite close enough to being done to really be a factor here. These two guys are just going to be saber rattling for a little bit, but tank counts being equal, it's going to come down, of course, to that positioning.
Ooh, that's a nice first shot from Seryph. There's no medevacs out yet, the delayed medevac from that Banshee and such. The point defense drone comes down first from PSiArc. He does actually manage to take down 1 Viking. Seeker missile being used on that siege tank, as well as an auto turret, is actually going to be able to take it out. So a little bit of a win for Seryph there. However, PSiArc has now secured air control, taking down both his opponent's Vikings, giving his tanks that kind of effective additional range, but there aren't actually any tanks down here. PSiArc does have a few up here on the high ground, but his tank's starting, or Seryph's tank, that is, are starting to shell away at that orbital command. It lifts up, but the Marines are still raining fire up at it, and PSiArc has to move forwards, but he's actually in range of Seryph's tanks now.
Seryph can afford to trade out a couple of SCVs as long as he doesn't lose too much, and that is a nice shutdown. It wasn't necessarily as cost-effective as he would have liked, but it was cost-effective enough, all things considered. PSiArc 4 workers ahead, and now he's going to be able to land that orbital, start dropping those mules, and of course, he shut down and crushed that army of his opponent.
Yeah, he did pretty nicely there. PSiArc had a little bit of advantage by that. Started out, lost a few SCVs during that, but still came out ahead. In fact, just morphing up that 3rd orbital command right now. He can pretty much land that whenever he wants. He's got the army moving out across the map. So this time it's Seryph's turn to be at home, be scared, and be kind of worried for his life. And he really should be, as PSiArc with the air control so far. There's really nothing in the air for Seryph, so this is going to be great being aggressive into this defensive position from Seryph. Oh, actually though, I'm not sure what I think about that. PSiArc is actually bomb rushing up this natural ramp, and he's going to lose his whole army doing so. One siege tank gets away. No, it doesn't.
That was... You know, there are some ways to throw away advantages. It's not like it's completely gone. We got to take a quick look at the overall situation. That was certainly an entire army wasted by PSiArc. He can afford to do that a little bit. He is going to be sitting on that triple orbital. Of course, his production, because he did go for that third orbital after, you know, he was sitting on Rax factory starport, whereas his opponent's sitting on the more classic 5 racks before the third CC. And at least you're sitting on 3 racks, a factory, and a starport if you're just playing standard bio before you get that third CC. And then racks 4 and 5 are either going to be before or after, depending on how quickly you want to power up that production. But very streamlined production from PSiArc, and he threw away his army. Maybe a little bit troublesome. We'll have to see if he's able to really take those defensive positionings, because as in all StarCraft matchups, but particularly in TVT, positioning is such an important game to play. As one misstep from Marines, and suddenly you may have had an army supply advantage a second ago, and now it's completely evaporated.
Absolutely, and yeah, I feel like PSiArc, they're on pretty even footing now, but PSiArc definitely had an advantage. Not so much anymore. Although he's kind of retained, he's working his way back up to a nice econ advantage with that slightly faster 3cc. Seryph doesn't want to make the mistakes PSiArc had. And yeah, he's going to find a different angle attack, and this works out pretty nicely for him. PSiArc having to reposition his siege tanks. And this is kind of what I was talking about at the start of the game, where the the kind of multiple angles of approach into this third base / natural area makes it a bit more difficult, where we think of where PSiArc had like 3 or 4 siege tanks out of him, a great concave around Seryph's real main kind of attack route. There are several routes that Seryph could actually take to move into PSiArc's third base or his natural one. These Marines, getting a little bit overeager, aren't going to be able to take out anything, and always themselves. Seryph is going to have to back off now. He's only got those siege tanks.
I could have seen that little Marine push working a bit better if he would have loaded into like 1 medevac and dropped directly on the tank. I don't know exactly what the bum rush idea was. Of course, he was trying to kill off a tank, but an interesting choice for sure. +1/+1 will be finished up shortly, as of course +1 attack was prioritized by both players. +1 armor going to be relatively equally timed as well. So there's not an upgrade advantage timing that either one of these guys can look forward to. It's going to be more looking for that positioning play. Who can siege up first? As in this case, it is Seryph. He's going to be getting some nice shots off, and of course the splash damage in this case will end up reigning supreme, as once again PSiArc gets his entire army trashed. However, he is still 10 workers ahead and relatively even on supply. The question is coming down to that tank count, where Seryph is 5-2, and PSiArc needs to be very careful, because when you're down on tanks, again, you have to be very careful about what angles you choose.
Yeah, you absolutely do. PSiArc, though, as you mentioned, actually now on army supply advantage, still has that worker advantage. Seryph, though, is looking to close out with the Doom Drop, the kind of quintessential Terran versus Terran right now, but PSiArc has Marines spread out all over the map, and he's going to spot this coming in, but he's not in position to deal with it, so Seryph gets loaded up for free into that third base of PSiArc, and that's troubling news.
Very slow SCV pull, but of course PSiArc was most likely just focused on killing that third CC. This huge supply block of Seryph means that nothing is going to be constructed, although at the same time PSiArc is just kind of streaming single Marines into that one tank, which is a good way to not really have your Marines do anything. There's the pickup from PSiArc. He's going to be heading out across the map, and of course Seryph was able to force away that third CC, but I mean, when it's 2-base versus 2-base, that's still all right for PSiArc. He doesn't have to be, like, super worried just yet.
No, not so much. There is the third... Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. He did kind of kill that.
Yeah. Dead being better than just being pushed away.
Yeah, a little bit more so. So it's still looking pretty good for PSiArc, but every single engagement so far has kind of gone Seryph's way. Although the game as a whole has been pretty good for PSiArc, like the whole time. Seryph just wins engagement after engagement after engagement, and eventually you can very much win the game that way, even from behind. You only have to win engagements to win the game, and looking like you're ahead doesn't actually translate into wins unless you actually win the game.
And that's the problem, isn't it, for PSiArc? If he keeps throwing away those advantages with the awkward engagements, TVT is very unforgiving. This could be another opportunity. There's the stim forward. He's going to try to catch the tanks. One might go down from PSiArc, as no, he does turn around his Marines, and now he's going to be able to get the siege up, and of course, Seryph needs to bait. No, he doesn't actually successfully bait his opponent, while at the same time, Marines dropping into the main. There should be enough here from Seryph to push this back. Keep in mind, PSiArc is up that 1-point advantage. He can afford to drop a game, but if Seryph loses this, he's out of the tournament.
Yes, it will be, and that would be a very sad moment to do, because then it would mean the ASL Challenge League was sans Seryph.
Very well done indeed. As the third now going to be landing, and of course, am I crashing out?
We had a pause, and I didn't miss too much, but
yeah.
Seryph was trying to throw down his third base again. Third CC, obviously having been little natural. PSiArc does have a drop there, ready to push it away though. Where's up there? Yeah, it's just a handful of Marines.
Yeah, only 4. Not a big deal. Now the big push out, or I guess 5 technically, but the big push out being from PSiArc, who's going to be sieging first. In this case, it is Seryph, but of course his tanks aren't actually supporting the engagement, and 1-2 shots do get off from PSiArc. He's able to take down some Marines, but again, we're in this awkward situation. No man's land is in between these 2 tank lines.
Yes, it is. It's a tough situation to be in, certainly, but PSiArc is going to be unseating some of his tanks. Both players scanning each other, trying to get that extra bit of range, those extra few shots off. Ooh. And now PSiArc looking for the right angle of engagement. He can actually get a siege up onto this refinery, I believe. No, not quite. He does have one tank that's not sieged up. Oh, he just doesn't have vision. Yeah, he can hit the refinery. But
there's
back
a
on the other side of the map, there is a drop. Base, as you say, PSiArc dropping into the natural isn't going to be getting too much done, but he can't kill off this refinery. That'll hamper Seryph's tank production a little bit, especially as he's only mining off 4 refineries. Although actually currently he's only mining off 1. But yeah, we'll see. Seryph looks like he's going to try and rush up this ramp, but he will have to back off a lot for that though.
As we were praising the engagements that Seryph was taking, his harassment over at the third didn't do as much as he would have liked, and now misstepping there, we'll be trading out some of that supply for free just to siege tank shots of PSiArc. Man, that reinforcing army coming in from PSiArc, definitely going to be a problem that Seryph has to deal with. He's transferring a lot of workers to the main, or to the third, excuse me, double saturated on there. There's the drop of the Marines, but the flank coming in from PSiArc. He can crush this army. He gets all of the tanks before they siege. Only one of them has actually sieged and doing anything. An absolutely crushing engagement from PSiArc.
That was the engagement he needed. Smashing through Seryph's army. And GG, PSiArc takes the 2-0 to face Winter in the final match.
Thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to support the ASL by hitting the button now.